Yes, yes, close, close. So we can start over here, please.
Okay.
No, here.
Okay, here.
And then all of you in the middle, please. Here, walk. This is perfect. All of you straight, perfect. Okay, straight. Thank you.
That's now on the right.
Here, please.
Can you stay here with us?
Can you stay here where the handle is? Just look at the left.
Up on the right, please.
So many times everybody said,
Oh,
Please to the left.
okay.
come one more step, please.
Straight ahead, please. Fast. Look up to the left. Straight ahead to the left.
All together.
And one more time straight ahead, please in the middle. One more time, in the middle.
Center one more time, please.
Look up. Look up. To the center. Look up. Thank you. Here.
Thank you. And now, please, Vivian, Liu, Aokun, and Vizianti, all the rest can come here, please.
Dann zum Kaffee angelegen.
And over here, please.
And then all of you straight ahead. Stay with me first. Stay with me. And one more time, no, here. Stay with me. Perfect.
Just look at the left, please. All,
Thank you. Now, please, Vivian, come here and then come. Thank you.
to the left side. Yeah, left, all left. All left.
And then both of you stay with me first. So you both you straight, yes, that's perfect. Stay with me. Just follow the voice. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
Now we have a show.
Shock and shock.
Look up to us, please. Yes.
Center, please.
头靠头吧。好，来再看一下刚刚的头靠头啊。看一下刚刚，看一下刚刚。
To the left again, please.
And one more time straight ahead, please. Yes, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Vivian, please here.
Also, yeah, left.
And one straight ahead. Yes, perfect. Stay with me, that's great. One more time, yes, yes, almost done. Thank you.
On the left, please.
Straight to the left again. Left.
And then one more time straight ahead, yes. And over the shoulder was nice, over the shoulder. The shoulder. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Stay with me, straight.
And the same thing here.
不是，我刚才跟他聊天的时候，
Look at the husband.
Thank you. And now,
Okay.
Yeah, wait one more time. Wait.
Another way for
Another wait, yes.
Thank you over here, please.
thank you.
来来来，
Thank you.
黄奕。
Could you start with that? Thank you.
And one more time straight ahead. Stay with me, that's great. Perfect.
Now we. time
Look
here.
up to us.
Thank you.
One more look. Now one more time here. One more time here. Yes, yes. Perfect. Thank you.
Benji. Left again, please.
Just one more look. Straight. Yes, that's perfect. That's great.
One look over here, one more time. One more time here, one more time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Could you start?
And then one straight ahead, please. Yes, there, please. Straight.
Now look up to the right. Look up to the right.
One more in the center, one more in the center,
To the
please.
right. Yes.
One more in the center, please.
And one more time.
Look up.
And one more time here. Yes. And
One more
yes.
time to the center, please. One more time to here.
Thank you.
Look up to the left. Look up to me. Thank you.
Left. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Stand over here, please.
And then one straight ahead, please. In the middle. Yes. Perfect. Save me. Thank you.
Now look up to us. Look up to us. Yes.
One more time, center, please.
Thank you.
And one more time in the room. Save me.
Thank you.
One more time. Beautiful.
And over here, to the left, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You start here.
And then one
And over here,
please.
please.
And one time here. Yes. That's perfect.
In the left corner,
And one more time straight ahead. Yes. That's great. Thank you.
Look up to the right
Thank you.
side.
Thank you very much.
Look
One
up,
more
look up,
time,
please.
sorry, one more
Here.
time, center, please.
Here, look up.
And then one time straight ahead. Yes. Perfect.
Today.
Look up to us.
And one more time straight ahead, please. Yes. Great. Thank you.
Please.
And in the left corner,
Look up to
please.
us. Thank you.
In the left corner, please. Left corner. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi. And then one look straight ahead. That's perfect. Straight.
One more over here.
Then one more time like that.
One more time, center. One more time. One more time.
And one look straight ahead.
Everyone look up to us.
One more look. Once here. Yes. Perfect. Straight.
Thank you very much.
Vivian Chu is a Chinese author and director, as well as a successful producer. She produced the 2014 award winner, Fireworks in Broad Daylight. She is now entering the Berlinale competition with her own directorial work, Girls on Wire. She creates an intense escape story. 22-year-old Tian Tian, a single mother, kills a drug dealer who held her captive, and she now has to flee from the cartel. Vivian Chu unfolds her drama against the backdrop of social change in China, which not only affects the economy and politics, but also affects traditional values. The press conference for Girls on Wire.
Guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. 早上好, 早上很冷. Good morning on this very cold Berlin morning. A very warm welcome to the press conference for Vivian Chu's gorgeously moving and dynamic Girls on Wire, which we are extremely proud to have celebrate its world premiere in the international competition of the 2025 Berlin Film Festival. My name is Jessica Kiang. I am a member of the selection committee of the 75th Berlinale, and it is my great pleasure to be moderating this press conference this morning. The moderation will be done through English, obviously, but some of the panelists will be answering in English, others will be answering in Chinese. So unless you are fluent in both of those languages, which unfortunately I am not, despite the best efforts of my Chinese father, please make sure you keep your translation headsets with you the whole time. We're extremely lucky and extremely happy to have such an amazingly illustrious panel here, these beautiful faces with us. So let me get to some introductions. First of all, starting furthest away from me at the opposite end, we have Gengla, the actor who plays Mr. Hu in Girls on Wire. Gengla is one of quite a few of the panel here who is a returning actor who is working with Vivian for the second time after also appearing in Angels Wear White, for which actually he was nominated for the Best Supporting Actor at the Asian Film Awards. And we also just heard backstage that Gengla's acting career dates all the way back to 1994 when he made his debut in the beautiful In the Heat of the Sun, directed by Zhang Wen. Next to Gengla, we have Peng Jing, the actress who plays Fang Di's mother. A super challenging role, I think, here. She also returns to work with Vivian again after appearing so unforgettably in Angels Wear White. Next to Peng Jing, we have actress Wen Qi. Also, who may be known to some of you as Vicky Chen. Wen Qi, of course, plays Fang Di, just this incredibly resourceful and strong performance of power and resilience that she gives here in Girls on Wire. Of course, Angels Wear White was probably her international breakout, a truly unforgettable role there, for which she has won multiple awards and been nominated multiple times. Since then, also for several other films, including most recently The Bold, the Corrupt, and the Beautiful. And next to Wen Qi, we have director Vivian Chu. Since being selected in Venice and Toronto in 2013 with her debut film Trap Street, Vivian has very quickly established herself as one of the most exciting and vibrant new voices in Chinese cinema. I think it's because a lot of the time she sets herself apart. She makes such individual films, such as Trap Street, and then, of course, in 2017 with Angels Wear White, which again premiered in Venice. Angels Wear White, I think, is one of those films that has gone on very rapidly to become regarded as a modern classic in Chinese cinema. It may even have been a little bit ahead of its time at the time, but that's what we love to celebrate about Vivian, is that she is always a little bit ahead of her time. This is her first time in Berlin competition, of course, but it's scarcely her first time in Berlin. As producer of Black Coal, Thin Ice in 2014, Zhao Yinan's Golden Bear winner, obviously Vivian has been here before, and then she returned to us in 2019 as a member of our international jury. So we're so happy to have her back here where she belongs in the Berlin competition as a director. Thank you, Vivian. Next to Vivian, we have, who is a new cast member for a Vivian Chu film, Liu Haokun, who does such a beautiful job of playing the really heartbreaking role of Tian Tian. Liu Haokun is one of the most fastest rising Chinese stars at the moment. She has, of course, starred twice over for the great director Zhang Yimou in 1 Second in 2020 and in Cliff Walkers in 2021. Most recently, I have enjoyed watching her play opposite Jackie Chan in Ride On in 2023. And I think this film will continue to just consolidate just what an exciting talent that she is. Next to Liu Haokun, we have Zhang Youhao, who plays Ming, the kindly store clerk who befriends Tian Tian. Since his debut in 2016, he has quickly become one of the most in-demand young actors domestically, and we expect Girls on Wire to expand that reach internationally. For example, he has actually 5 upcoming credits, so I think you're going to be fairly inescapable quite soon. Thank you. And finally, next to Zhang Youhao, we have Zhou You, who plays, of course, Tian Tian's father, beset by bad luck. In 2020, I want to call out a particular favorite film of mine, Wei Shuzhen's Striding into the Wind, which was where Zhou You first came to my attention. And then, of course, last year in 2024, he appeared in Jia Zhangke's Cannes competition title, Caught by the Tides. Thank you very much. So this is quite the illustrious panel that we have here, and it's beautiful to see so many of your principal actors. Can I just ask Vivian, especially with regards to casting Liu Haokun, that so much of this film, I think the heart of this film, lies in the relationship between the two cousin sisters. And so how did you go about casting those 2 roles?
Thank you, Jessica. I'll just say briefly, because the story goes really long. But after I wrote the script last year, I was searching through the young generation of new actresses in China to really play the role of Tian Tian. But because the role is so challenging, teenage pregnancy and single mother and drug withdrawal, all these elements, that no one of her age would have experienced that. So I think it's a really difficult choice. But Liu Haokun, I noticed her since her debut in 1 Second, that was in Berlinale in 2019, and I thought she naturally has the 2 kind of qualities, like very fragile, at the same time, very strong and very rebellious. So because she possesses those qualities, and that's really the main reason that I chose her. And so I asked her to come and read the script in my studio, and for 2 hours, she was just sitting there very quietly and no distractions and just concentrating on the script. And then afterwards, she said, yes, that's me. I want to play her. Yeah, that's how it happened.
Wonderful.
Should I talk about when she as well? Okay. When she was in my film Angels Wear White in 2017, and at the time when she was playing the role, the 16-year-old Mia, she was merely 12 years old. So when I was casting for this film, she was merely 20, too young for the role of Fandi. So I didn't really think of her in the very beginning because she was really, really too young. How can you play someone who's already 27? But I searched through also the actresses of the right age, but I didn't find one. I wanted someone who's really tough and strong, independent, and warm at heart. And I was telling my casting director, I want someone older, like an older Wenqi, but he couldn't find me one. So eventually I thought, okay, maybe. She was 12 playing 16-year-old. Maybe now she can, at 20, she could play 27-year-old. So I sent the script to her, and I didn't tell her which role I wanted her to play. I said, just read it and tell me what you think. And she said, oh, I feel connected with Fandi. Okay, that's great. That's exactly what I thought. So that's how I decided on the two actresses.
That's amazing. Actually, just to Wenqi, perhaps, to answer the question, how do you feel constantly being cast as somebody older? Because that's not something that happens very much.
Oh, thank you for the question. I'll explain it in Chinese. 我觉得这是我和导演非常奇妙的缘分，因为我从来没有在其他的影片里面饰演超过自己本身年龄这么多的角色，这本身对我来说也是一种挑战。但是我很感谢导演对我的信任，也有这样一份信任，所以我才有安全感去做这么有挑战性的事情。那这一次在这个电影里，我也像导演刚才说的，饰演了一个比自己大5、6岁的这样一个角色。
5 to 6 years older than me in this film. The difficulty for me was finding her, underlying sort of tragic nature and the way that she kind of represses her own desires and her relations to family and love, the way that her pursuit of those actually comes out. So that was the particularly challenging thing. And in the filming process on set, Vivian Xu gave me a lot of freedom and encouraged me to explore the character and the story itself. So I think that we found quite a good working relationship, actually.
Anybody who has questions, please put your hands up so I can see. Yes, at the back here.
My name is Mahar Sigit, African Refugee News. It's nice to see you back again at the Berlinale. When I saw your film, something doubted me. It's a Chinese film, but it's a lot Western film. How did you choose to make it in this way? And then the second question is, we have in the jury, Fan Bingbing. What is for you, Chinese or Asian women, the significance to have such a girl in the jury?
I'm sorry, you said it's Chinese film and?
Western.
Western?
Yeah.
And then what might it mean to have Fan Bingbing on the jury as for Chinese people? I think that's right.
Well, I guess we can't really divide films by its nationality. I don't know that I'm making a Western film. I'm making my film. I think as filmmakers, individuality is really the most important thing, and I choose the style that's really me, and I try to express what's really truly from my heart, and because it's important to me, and I'm sure it will be connected to world audiences, whoever country they're from. So yeah, this would be my answer. And no, I think for jury, I think it's the festival who decides on their jury, because, you know, when I was here, I don't know, I think we're all just part of a great festival. We're all making contributions to make a festival a great experience for not only filmmakers, but also journalists and audiences alike. So I think it's a great thing that, you know, whoever the festival decides, we'll be very happy to hear that, yeah.
There was a question over here. Oh, sorry, there's one here.
My name is Asal. I'm from Central Asia, Kyrgyzstan. I keep Press News Agency. I have a question for Vivian Chu. In Girls on Wire, suffocation often linked to water and death both trap the characters. Do you see that as purely a burden, or can it also drive transformation? And how do these themes connect to the film's larger message? Thank you.
Water? Yeah, so your question is how is water related to the okay. It wasn't, I think it's just a very natural thing, because when I was writing the stunt part when she was playing, I think one of the really challenging role was, you know, really in a cold weather to get in and out of the water. So that came as a very important element and very early on in the script stage. So I just thought maybe I can just carry through the theme of water, because water can be, water is life-saving. Water at the same time can kill. So water has this all-encompassing quality. So I think it's just a great element to be in the film. Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, can I just say, was your question also partially about debt? About debt? Oh, death. Okay, so whether death can also be yes. Does death always have to be a bad thing, or can it be a motivator for change, I think, and growth?
Yeah, both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's okay. All right, yes, let's go here.
Claudia Schulmerich, Frankfurt, Weltexpresso.
Claudia Schulmerich from Frankfurt.
Ich habe eine Frage, aber will ganz kurz eingehen auf den Hinweis von Ihnen, dass
but I would like to come back to what you just said, which is that you don't think you're making a national film, but you're making films for a video audience. But you know, for us as spectators, it's different. We're seeing a Chinese film, and every film will always reflect a specific society. It happens automatically. And I have a question about the Chinese society. The competition started with a film that is set in 1991, but shows a situation in a rural area that resembles what we had here in Germany in the 18th century. And now your film is very modern, but essentially it's the same. It's about family. It's about how you have each other's back. And I wanted to know from you, you know, in the West it's very clear. The family has a different status today than it used to have in the past. There's been the process of industrialization, mobility, children move away. And I would like to know, what is the change like, the transformation in China today? Because looking at the family as you portrayed in your film, it looks very traditional.
You're absolutely right. Of course, I'm making a Chinese film. I do not deny that. I think family has been, in the long Chinese tradition, has been a really important element, and that affects a lot of everybody's life, and especially in the modern world, in the fast-changing world. Because my film chronicles from the 1990s till recent days, and that's really the most dramatically changing period in Chinese history. So I think a lot of the challenges are happening during that time. And for young people, the value of family, what the kind of roles they play in the family is changing, and at the same time, because no one knows what to tell the young people what's the best way to do, and they find it a lot of the conflicting circumstances, and they find them in difficult situations that they don't know what to do. So I think that creates a lot of the generational trauma. And so this film, part of it is about this generational trauma, how young people have to deal with their family and how to break free from the traditional family values. So this is really, I mean, you're very good in recognizing this. This is a very important point in the film. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would also like to say that I think that even with the addition of Fan Bingbing on the jury, and with the fact that we have these two highly contrasting Chinese films in the competition, for me what it most shows is the massive breadth and the different ways of treating even very similar, very common topics such as family, for example. I think there was somebody here who has...
Michaela Schabel from Webseite Schabel Kulturblog.
Michaela Schabel.
Sie sind bekannt dafür, dass Sie innovative
You
Filme
are
machen.
known for making very innovative films. Would you say that with this one,
Blockbuster in China
you've created a blockbuster in China?
Is this question for me? Well, 我觉得
Well, I think as an actor, it's difficult for us to prejudge that question. Because we can't guarantee anything in terms of its eventual commercial success or profitability, but when it comes to our own parts and the content, I would just say this is the second time that I've worked together with Vivian Chu. It's a very interesting film, theme-wise, and you're right, it's an experimental, innovative film. So when I took the part, I wasn't really thinking much about profitability or commercial viability as such. Is that okay?
They're translating? No. Is there a translator?
Nobody translated. There was translation? Did you not get your translation? Yes, there's translation. I'm sorry, we can't go back to translate it again. Okay. All right, sorry, I think we have another question here. Yes?
Timmy Chen from Hong Kong 明报。我有一个导演想问那个问题想问我
I have a question for Vivian Chu. There's lots of very outstanding Chinese female directors such as yourself. So can you talk about that as a female director in China, what it's like? I'd also like to ask the two actresses who appeared. When you saw the screenplay, did you immediately feel a connection to the parts you respectively play? How did you build that personal connection to the parts, and what was the biggest difficulty during the shooting process for you? Thank you very much. I'd like to ask the actresses to answer first. Liu Haocun first.
I'm so glad to have this opportunity. She's very amazing and professional. 我非常喜欢这一次来到
I'm very happy to be able to be here in this conversation at the Berlinale, and I'd also like to say that it's been a real privilege to work not just with Vivian Chu, but also a lot of experienced actors on this project. Creation is a very important thing, and I'm also very happy that we're able to connect internationally and share something of our culture. Thank you very much for the question.
关于这个角色，我觉得困难的点在于，其实像文彦导演刚才提到的，年龄的差距以及这个角色本身的特殊性。他是一个在剧组里工作的武打演员，在这个角色的这个职业属性上本身就有，对我来说有一定的阻碍。我需要在身体上，需要在技巧上有提升，我需要去锻炼，需要去学习所有的。
train physically, and I also had to learn various kung fu techniques and classic moves, so I had to work out what kind of state of mind a kung fu actress would be in. And this is somebody who's 27, this character. She's not an ambitious new starlet. In kung fu terms, this is obviously somebody who has a lot of stress in her life and a lot of conflict. So that, for me, was a bit harder to explore. But in the shooting process, Vivian Chu did give me a lot of support in doing that. So we kept having conversations and kept trying out different approaches to get me closer to my character. Thank you very much.
I think I would also just like to ask a question here now at this point, because obviously Vivian is a female director and this is a very female-focused film, but I'd also like to put a question to the male members of the cast that we have here as well, because I think the male characters also are asked to represent every shade of villain and every shade of good person as well. So maybe perhaps I can go to Gung Le, first of all, to just ask, especially considering the character that you play here is very different from the character you played for Vivian in Angels Wear White. Can you just tell me a little bit about the experience of coming to this film?
All right, yes. Okay. And good morning, everyone. This is, well, that was the first time I worked together with Vivian Chu, Angels Wear White, and we became friends, and I have a lot of respect for her. And I was very lucky to be able to play a sympathetic father character who loves his daughter in Angels Wear White. A genius director will not make you play the same kind of part twice. So my character this time is completely cold-blooded and unsympathetic. It's not somebody that the audience will sympathize with, but I'm very grateful to Vivian Chu for giving me this opportunity to develop further and do things on the screen that I would never do in real life, or use certain abilities on the screen I'd never normally use. For example, I have this fight scene with Wenqi by the sea. It's a chase scene. I mean, it was really, really tiring to film, actually. But Wenqi is really a real tough cookie, and there was a fight where she almost had this accident that terrified me.
Great.
Thank you.
Could you perhaps answer the question as well for me?
我想问一下，就张佑浩
a little bit coming to this.
您的看法是怎么样的？加入这个团队的过程是怎么样的？
emphasis on your character as being a kind one, as being a good one. There's a lot of other very difficult and very hard, frustrated men around.
他周围有其他很多很强硬或者很坏的男角色。
for our director inviting me to join this film team. Yeah, bring me to Berlin. Yeah, yes. It's my first time to Berlin. By the way, I say that.
I'm sorry, it's so cold.
Yeah, it's so cold. Even though the weather is so cold, but I think we have the passion in this festival. Yeah, and yeah, in Chinese. 对于我的角色的话，我觉得
Now, when it comes to my part,
我跟导演的遇见也是一个很特别的事情，因为本身我是希望演他的另外一部电影，然后每天都在跟他自己推荐自己。
one of her other films, and so I kept trying to contact her and put myself forward. And then she contacted me for this part, so that was a bit of a downer for me, but then she was really curious about me the first time we actually met, and she ended up putting me onto the cast. Now, working with her, I got the sense that she has a real eye for detail, that came to things like how oily my hair was and the length of my beard and so on. Now, every time she said cut, she started saying, your hair's not greasy enough. It needs to be a bit greasier. It's not, doesn't have enough shape. And so she was really paying attention to a lot of this detail. She's somebody that places high demands on herself. And that gave me the confidence that the film was going to be a good one. I really admired the way she did her work as a director. Thank you very much.
Hair is acting.
And I want to say, I hope we have the good news in Berlin. Yeah.
Very good. Joyo, can I just ask you a similar question, actually? So did you find Vivian's directing style very as precise when she was when you were creating your character? Because I think your character is one of the most difficult, because you have to invest him with a certain degree of humanity, but at the same time he is making a lot of extremely bad choices.
Well, she doesn't just have an eye for detail, she's also crazy as a director. Yesterday, she said she discovered my craziness. At the beginning of, on the 1st of January 2024, I went for a screen test, and at the end of 2023, in work and personal terms, I was in the doldrums. I wanted to audition for the role of Liu Haochun's boyfriend, actually, but after I met Vivian Chu, she gave me 5 pieces of paper and made me play 2 to 3 parts, and then she told me about my experiences and how I was to play the part, and then she told me that she'd read a lot about me and that my last film had been an international film festival. And then she told me she wanted me to audition for Tianjun, which was Tian Tian's father, which I thought was going to be far too difficult, especially for somebody of my age. And he ends up as a grandfather. Can you imagine that? So I was really terrified that I'd get it wrong, especially as this character somewhat drives the film. But I told the director, various reasons why it might not be right for me, timing-wise and so on. But she said to me, you have to trust in my eye for a cast member. And I'd like to say thank you to her for that, because I never believed I'd make it to Berlin. As a director, she was pretty crazy. She gave me 5 days to suss out the environment and explore my character and the comic side of him, the tragic side of him as well. So I'd like to thank her and Mr. Chen. Thank you very much for that opportunity. I'm very happy to be here. This is my 5th international film, but my first time in Berlin. So thank you all for being here, and I can see a few old friends' faces around me too.
I also, actually, this is making me think of a question I would like to ask, to put to Peng Jing. As Joyo was just saying, one of the challenges of his role was playing a character who has to, age in various different ways. You also faced that challenge, even from the different hairstyles and things. But for me, what's also very interesting is the psychological change that your character undergoes, and this very beautiful end scene that you have where we understand so much about her own journey. Can you just tell me a little bit about what you had to bring to this role?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Peng Jing, and I worked with Vivian Chu on Angels Wear White, and we've been working with her ever since. So I'm very honored to have been one of the co-screenwriters for this film. But that also meant that I was a bit too familiar with my own
角色其实在开演之前的那个情感已经非常非常的浓郁了。也许大家会觉得这个角色对我来说是挑战，但是对于我来讲，我非常坚定的我可以完成它，然后也很感谢林彦导演给我这样的机会去突破。那对于这个角色来说，我觉得每一个人都有属于自己的时代，每一个人也在经历自己的时代，每一个人也会经历洪流。 所以，不管在什么阶段，都找到一股属于自己的力量，努力的前行，是我让这个角色更加坚定的一点。它有它的苦，它有它的难，但是不影响它坚定的想完成自己的一些希望。其实他的希望很简单，虽然他没有做到，他就是想让这个家里边更好。
simple, even though it's not realized, she just wants the family to live better. Even if she doesn't manage it, it's a great thing that she keeps that up.
We're running very close to overtime, but I think we have one last question here. Okay, we'll try and fit in two.
Carsten Meyer from RBB Radio 3.
Carsten Meyer from RBB. I have a question to Ms. Chu. You show a society where there is a lot of crime.
Eine Drogenmafia, die da
eine ganze Familie über Jahre sozusagen in die Empfänge hat. Pursue a whole family over many years. I would like to know, weren't you afraid that your authorities wouldn't like that or that would censor the film because it portrays the country in a rather negative way?
Well, for your information, the film has passed censorship, and we're going to release it in about 2 weeks' time, March 8th. I think that answers your question. Thank you.
Yes. Here.
Good morning, and this is a question for the two female leads and for the director. My parents also come from the city of Chongqing, where some of the action takes place, and the two actresses, I don't think either of you come from the city of Chongqing, but you do a very good Chongqing dialect on screen. How did you manage that?
这个我能抢答一下吗？老乡你好，因为我也是重庆人，所以正好文导就是写这个关于重庆的剧本的时候，我跟文导一块共创，自然而然也就接受了语言指导的这个职位。所以从开始教语言的时候，就是我那个负责教所有人的这个方言。有你老乡的认可，非常的高兴，谢谢。
Thanks very much for your passion for your hometown.
因为我是吉林通化人，就是
I'm from the city of Tonghua in Jilin, northeast China.
我学重庆话还是相对来说比较有挑战性
So it was quite hard for me to learn a completely different dialect, the Chongqing dialect, but it was a privilege to work with Peng Jing, and we had Chongqing dialect lessons every day. She wrote out this very detailed list of things to study, and I repeated my lines 200 or more times to get them right in Chongqing dialect.
就是有一些即兴的台词，我们都是现场学习的。我觉得学习重庆话是一个非常有意思的事情，而且我们国家有很多语言都是非常的有趣又好听，而且非常有各地的特色。所以特别荣幸这次能够学习重庆话，在这部影片中跟大家一起创作。谢谢。
Be able to work in Chongqing dialect this time round.
Thank you very much. I'm afraid we're going to have to stop there. This is we could go on for ages, but we're already over time, and I think we've only barely started to scrape the surface of this incredibly ambitious, incredibly multi-leveled film. So thank you very much, Vivian Chu. Thank you very much all for being here.